I was about to say welcome back to my channel, and then I realised I'm probably not quite at the stage yet where I can say that. So instead I'll say, hello, welcome to my channel. This is my first sort of sit down, talk to the camera for a lengthy amount of time style video. So bear with me, I'm probably going to be a bit rusty for the first few. This is a video that I've wanted to film for a while though, or at least this is information I've wanted to share in some sort of capacity for a while, because I often get asked how do I keep my clothes looking so crisp and clean all the time, and the answer is that I take good care of my clothes. So I thought in this video I could share what I do to ensure that my clothes look their best and to ensure that they have a long and prosper life, because I think in fashion's current state, now more than ever, it is really important for us to make sure we're looking after our clothes properly and really cherishing our clothes. We all know about the amount of clothes that are going to landfill. The numbers are terrifying. I think in order to start reducing that, we need to make sure that we're looking after our clothes properly, because so many clothes are going to landfill or so many clothes are being thrown away that don't need to be thrown away. All they needed was a bit more TLC. So hopefully this video will inspire you to maybe just make a few changes within your clothing care routine. I'm not going to call this a tips video because I don't want this to come across as a how to look after your clothes. This is more of a here's what I do, here's what works for me, and hopefully you can take some of that away. Some of these things are going to be complete no-brainers that loads of people are already probably doing. Some of them might be a bit unorthodox, a bit weird, and some of them might be things that you've thought about doing but just haven't actually put into action yet. So hopefully this will be of use to some people. I'm not a YouTube pro at the moment, so I do have a notebook with notes in. I'm not quite at the stage yet where I can just like roll it all off, so if you see me sort of glancing over, that's because I'm referring to my notes, and these are in no particular order, by the way. Number one. So I don't wash any of my clothes above 30 degrees, and I'm sure loads of people out there are already doing this as well. A few years ago there was like I say a few years ago, I think ages ago, there was this big push to get people to switch from 40 degrees to 30 degrees when washing. So yeah, loads of people probably are doing it already, but also I don't wash above 30 degrees because I don't think our clothes should be boiled to death, really. There's no need for it, and it's not good for our clothes. Washing your clothes on too high a temperature is the biggest cause for shrinking and fading. If you're washing your clothes on too high heat, you will start to notice your clothes will deteriorate quite quickly. So stick to 30. However, I actually wash my clothes at 20. And I know some of you are probably wincing right now, just thinking, like, are your clothes actually getting clean? The answer is yes. Washing your clothes on 20 degrees is completely fine for the sort of that general wash. I tend to wash at 20 degrees if you've been wearing something for a week or two and it's not visibly dirty, but just for hygiene reasons, it needs to be washed, might just have a bit of a funny smell to it, and it just needs a freshen up. That's when I wash at 20 degrees. And since switching from 30 to 20, I have found that my clothes, there is zero fading, zero shrinking. My clothes are coming out of the washing machine exactly how they went in, but obviously just a bit fresher. I then wash my clothes at 30 if they are visibly soiled, like there are stains on my clothes, that's when I wash at 30 degrees. However, before just throwing in stained clothes into the washing machine, I examine the garment first to see if I can do a spot stain removal. So a spot stain removal is where you just target the stain rather than washing the entire garment. And I do this because sometimes you'll get a stain on something within a few days of wearing it and the entire thing doesn't need washing, it's just the stain that needs removing. So you tend to get, when you get like a little bit of makeup, or like you accidentally flick some food on your t-shirt and you're just like, great, I've only worn this for 2 days and now I have to throw it in the washing machine. That's when spot stain removal is handy. And I do this using a product called Stain Solution. So this is from a brand called The Laundress, and they are based in New York. And this is a solution that removes new and old stains. There's often a common misconception that if you don't get to a stain immediately, then that's it, it's not going to come out. However, this will remove old stains. I've tried it on many an old stain and it's worked brilliantly. So you use this product in two ways. The first method is by just applying it to your stain and then massaging the stain gently, leaving it for a few minutes and then rinsing. So just rinsing that part of the garment that has the stain on. You can either just like rinse under a tap or a wet sponge or a cloth or something like that. The second method is you apply it to your stain, you then soak the garment in lukewarm water for, I think it's like 5 to 10 minutes, and then you wash the garment in the washing machine. I tend to stick to the first method because I find that's the best method for me. I think the second method is more so for clothes, maybe like big stubborn stains, or when you've got something that's got loads of stains all over it. But to be honest, the first method works fine for me because I'm often targeting just tiny little stains. This pretty much works on everything. The only thing I've found that this can't remove is a sun cream stain, but I don't think anything can remove a sun cream stain. Like once sun cream is on your clothes, that's it, it's not going anywhere. So yeah, apart from that, this pretty much removes any stain. It's also good to note that this isn't damaging to your clothes. So I think I always worry with a lot of stain removal products is that they are actually quite damaging to your clothes because they often have chemicals in, like bleach, or maybe they might have dyes in. They tend to just have things in them that aren't necessarily good for your clothes. However, this product is made with non-toxic, biodegradable and allergen-free materials. It's made with natural ingredients, it's free of petroleum, SLS, phosphate, phthalates, don't know how to say that word, and dye. It's cruelty free, there's no animal byproducts, and it's unscented. So all round, this is a good product. It costs, so this was £13.50 for 475 millilitres. I bought this from Amazon last summer because at the time it wasn't really readily available in the UK. However, it might be that it is now a bit more readily available in the UK, so I shall do some research and leave some links below. But I think £13.50 for this much product is really good because, like I said, I got this last year and I feel like I've used it loads, and we are there. So that's how much I've used in a year. So it goes a long way, it lasts a long time, and it works. I love this, it's so good. It does say on the front here up to 200 uses, which is quite a lot. I also think this product's really good to reduce washing. So many of us are in the habit that we need to do a weekly wash where we throw in everything that we've worn that week in a wash and then it gets put in the washing machine. However, I don't necessarily think we need to be washing everything every week. Yeah, underwear, towels, bed linen, all that, that's fine, but I mean, sometimes I just don't think things need to be going in a weekly wash. So this is really good for that, for reducing that and for kind of like stopping that urge to always wash your clothes. I think also as well, like if your clothes aren't like visibly dirty, maybe just consider airing them out. Like if you've worn something for a week and there's no dirt on it and maybe you just feel like it needs freshening up, just think about airing it out. Just pop it outside on the line and it can completely freshen something up. So yes, highly recommend this. This has saved me from many makeup stains and pasta splashes, you know, that kind of thing. Number 2. So if you have followed me on Instagram for a while, you will probably know that I'm a bit of a crease phobe and I love ironing. Like, I genuinely really enjoy ironing. I hate creases. I pretty much iron my entire outfit before I leave the house. However, ironing isn't always the best option. It's not always convenient and it can be quite a slow process. So I have invested in a steamer recently and it does save a lot of time. I think With ironing, it is quite a task because you have to get the ironing board out, you have to obviously wait for the iron to heat up, you have to make sure the iron's got water in it, make sure the iron's clean, then sometimes you need ironing water, and then there's the whole actual ironing of the garment. It does require patience, it requires technique, and it requires time, and I don't always have that time, so that's where a steamer comes in handy, because it's really good for just getting out those day-to-day creases. You just plug it in, hang up your garment, and just up, down, and you're done. Another pro of steaming is it's a lot more gentle on your clothes. Like, ironing is obviously great, like it does the job, but it can be quite damaging to your clothes, because with, oh, I just have to put that there. With an iron, you are obviously repeatedly rubbing that hot plate over your clothes. I guess it's almost like using a hair straightener. Like, it does the job, but over time it's going to be quite damaging. And sometimes when you're ironing, you just get like these weird rogue ironing marks, which is really annoying. With a steamer, obviously you are still applying like applying heat to your garment, but it's not that direct contact. Instead, you're just like, it just sort of hovers in front of the garment, and then the steam just relaxes the crease. The only con I've found with a steamer is that if you obviously can't put creases in. So say if you've got a pleat down the front of your trousers or a crease in your shirt, a steamer can't put that in. And you also find that some fabrics do require an iron. Like if you've got a shirt and you want it to be really crisp, you really need an iron for that. And I'm not saying that ironing is bad all the time and you 100% shouldn't iron. It's just ironing something repeatedly, like constantly, can be quite damaging. Got this one from Amazon. It was fairly inexpensive. I think it was around £24. I'll leave a link down below. It's not the best steamer in the world. Like it's not going to be like those industrial strength steamers that you see in shops, but it does the job for now. I would like to invest in a better one soon. What I like about this one though is you can just take the top off and it fits in a suitcase. I do actually think this is marketed as a travel steamer, hence why it isn't the best in the world. I love travelling with a steamer now because I've been to quite a few hotels recently that haven't had ironing facilities. And, oh god, where can I get this back on? And yeah, turning up to a hotel and finding out they don't have ironing facilities is quite anxiety inducing for someone like me. So yeah, travel everywhere with my steamer now so that I'm not caught short. Number 3. I'm quite particular with how I store and hang my clothes, because all of these things that I'm doing are very important, but I think this is detrimental to how your clothes look for sure. For anyone who's maybe thinking of trying to make a change, one of my top tips would be try and invest in some slightly better hangers, especially if you're using those wire ones, because they can be quite damaging to your clothes. Like they might be doing more damage to your clothes than you realise. The way I hang my clothes is all jackets, coats, any outerwear, anything with like a reinforced shoulder, like a blazer, anything heavy lives on a thick hanger like this, in order to keep a nice shape along the shoulder. Any shirts, dresses, anything that's lighter weight will live on a wooden hanger like this. I will have a look online and see what hangers I can find, because hangers can be expensive, especially when you want to start buying them in bulk. They're quite hard to come by for a good price. So I'll do some research and leave some links down below. But yeah, I think hanging your clothes correctly is really important. Another thing to note is that I don't hang any of my knitwear. So the reason I don't hang any of my knitwear is because it can really cause quite a lot of sagging, and like it can really manipulate the shape of knitwear, especially if the knitwear is quite heavy. Knitwear is delicate and it's very like mouldable, and it doesn't take long for knitwear to change shape when it's being hung. When you hang knitwear, you'll find that it tends to like sag a bit. It will really droop down on the shoulder and you'll lose the shape of it. Also, so if you've hung knitwear for quite a while, you'll find that when you put it back on, you'll have like a weird little like, kind of like a sticky outy bit, and that's because the knitwear will have like stretched around this bit here around this end bit of your hanger. Yeah, I tend to fold all of my knitwear. If I really need to hang knitwear, it will go on a thick hanger like this, but it's very rarely that I do. And when I fold my knitwear, when I'm folding, I'm going to try to do some example here. When I fold my knitwear, I just always make sure that everything is like nice and flat. You don't want any like wrinkles, because you want to have as minimal creasage as possible. So fold the sides in, and then just always make sure that the sleeves are nice and flat as well. So yeah, just make sure there's no wrinkles, and then it's just like that. So that is how all of my knitwear is stored. Within my wardrobe I hang my coats, blazers, jackets, dresses, shirts, and then I hang all of my like smart trousers on one of those clippy trouser hangers, and then all of my denim is hung on a trouser hanger that's built into my wardrobe, which is like this thing that slides out. They're like these metal prongs, and you just lay the trousers over. The reason I hang my denim is because denim can just be a bit of a pain to iron, so I find it easier to just store my denim like that, so I can just pick it up, put it on, and I know it's not going to be creased. And then I fold all of my knitwear, obviously like I fold all of my t-shirts, and then obviously like loungewear, pyjamas, all of that's folded. If you've got delicate clothing or something that's really expensive that you want to protect, maybe think about investing in garment bag. I have a cashmere coat from Acne that I got a couple of winters ago that lives under a garment cover, just to protect it against any zips or anything that could snag it, that it sits within my wardrobe. So yeah, just anything that you really want to protect, maybe just think about getting a cover or a bag for it. Number 4. I am a big fan of going to the tailor. As someone who is 5'3", I am no stranger to the tailor, because most things are too long for me, and that's just something that I've learned to accept now. I normally go to the tailor to get trousers taken up, sometimes to get the waist sort of pinched in at the back on trousers, and often to get sleeves taken up as well. A lot of people will do like a seasonal clear out or annual clear out, where they go through their entire wardrobe and just throw away things that don't look right, don't fit right. And I think before we throw things away, we need to just examine them and say, okay, well, why am I throwing this away? And if it is because it doesn't quite fit you correctly, think about going to the tailor, because you'll be surprised at how much a tailor can do. They can do so much more than just take hems up. They can completely transform garments. And I think it's really important to use a tailor, because not only is it important to support a local tailor, but also, and obviously to ensure your garment lasts as long as possible, but also the confidence that it gives you to have an item that fits you perfectly is just, oh, it's brilliant. Like the amount of times I've had things that just haven't quite fit right, and I've taken them to the tailor, and all they've done is just nipped a few bits in here and there, taken a few things up, and it's just completely transformed the item, and all of a sudden it fits me to a T. And it's such a nice feeling to have something that fits you perfectly. It completely changes your relationship with that garment. You instantly, cherish and love it so much more. Consider repairing clothes as well. So I've just taught myself the basics, I know how to fix a split seam. I know how to put a button back on. I know how to fix a hole in knitwear. And I think when you're, because repairing a hole in knitwear is quite a specific thing. Is it called darning? Something like that? But you have to like bring it all together, don't you, in the middle. And I just did that by watching some YouTube videos, and it's so handy for when just like little things like that happen, like a seam comes undone or a button falls off. Not only does it save you like money taking it to someone to repair, but there's something really nice about being able to repair your own clothes. It feels very it's really nice to like work with your hands, and it feels quite liberating. It's a nice thing to be able to repair. So yeah, I recommend anyone to just teach yourself the basics so that you can repair your own clothes. Number 5. This one might be a no-brainer, or it might be a bit weird, I'm not sure. But I never ever ever get dressed before hair and makeup. I always do it afterwards. So whenever I do my hair and makeup, or I'm always in like pyjamas or loungewear, because of the obvious really. Like, I'm a bit of a klutz when I do my makeup. I have such a tendency to drop things. Like, I'm always dropping palettes and bronzers. The thought of dropping a bronzer all over a white dress or something is just like, oh, it panics me a little bit. So for the obvious reason, I get dressed after I've done my makeup. Just make sure, obviously I'm quite careful when putting things over my head. And also I do my hair first as well, because I recently found out that hairspray can be a bit damaging to your clothes. So yeah, always make sure that hair and makeup is done before getting dressed. Number 6. So tumble dryers are the main culprit for fading and shrinking. So I avoid tumble drying at all costs. I know they are convenient. We have a tumble dryer, we use our tumble dryer. We tend to use it for towels, bed linen, things like that. But I do not tumble dry my clothes. I think it's really damaging for clothes, and I'm just not willing to risk it. So, along with washing your clothes at too high a heat, tumble drying your clothes is one of the biggest contributors to fading and shrinkage. If you continuously tumble dry your clothes, you will start to notice them deteriorate very, very quickly, especially coloured items and darks. I never tumble dry dark clothes, never ever tumble dry jeans either, for obvious reasons really. Like, again, your clothes do not need to be subjected to such high temperatures like that for such long periods of time. I know not using a tumble dryer isn't going to be convenient for everyone, because some people don't have the space to air dry, and people use tumble dryers out of convenience and they are very speedy. So it's a tough one. My advice would be maybe try tumble dry on a cool setting, or maybe just like use a tumble dryer to half dry something and then air dry it. It's difficult because I know not everyone has space to have an airer. You'd be surprised what kind of like cool drying racks you can get now. There's all sorts of drying racks that sort of like fold, that are huge, and then they fold up into really small things that can be stored in a cupboard. So maybe I'll leave some links below to some cool drying racks. There's a sentence I never thought I'd say. Cool drying racks. Number 7. This might be a bit of a weird one. I don't know. I don't really know how I'm going to explain this. So I don't like to lounge around in my clothes. And I know some of you are going to be like, wait, what? Clothes are meant to be worn. It's a funny one. I think I just don't feel comfortable sitting around the house all day in like my clothes. So Dean always laughs because I have house clothes, and then I have my PJs. So my house clothes are clothes that I wear that I feel comfortable in, are still okay enough so that when I answer the door to the postman or whoever, I don't feel like a complete slob. So it's more like just elevated loungewear. There's just something about sitting around the house in my clothes that I really don't like, especially, you know, when you're on the sofa and you're all like curled up. Like, I couldn't do that in a pair of jeans or a nice shirt or a nice dress. It feels weird, and I think it goes back to like this whole like phobia of creases. Like, the more I'm like lounging around in something, the more I'm like, oh my god, it's getting more and more creased, and I just worry that by really sort of like lounging around in my clothes, and I'm stretching them and I'm damaging them. So I always find like after I've been out for a day, I will, as soon as I get in the house, I change into my house clothes, just because I feel more comfortable in like, you know, like a nice pair of jogger bottoms and a jumper rather than wearing a crisp shirt and some jeans. I just worry that I'm damaging my clothes by lounging around in them all the time. So there you have it. There's 7 things that I do in order to make sure my clothes are looking tip-top. I hope this is of some use and it wasn't just a load of babble, and that it was coherent, made sense, you know, all those things. I will leave as much information about products and things down below, and thank you for watching.